I'm Alexandra and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about something kind of special and something I haven't talked about in a long time, and that is classics. I've read a lot of classics in my time. I haven't read any classics recently except for one. They are thick and they are hard to read and they take time. Sometimes the language is hard to follow, especially if you're reading in not your own language. Let's say I speak French and I read classics in English, and it's hard. It takes time. But the real question is, are the classics worth reading? Now, I can talk about so many classics like War and Peace, Anna Karenina, The Three Musketeers. There's a lot out there, but something that people don't really talk about, it's classics written by women. And well, I haven't read a lot because they are not as easily accessible as classics written by men, which is kind of annoying, but some things that is worked on right now. I feel like more and more people talk about those classics writers that were women. I have a cat sleeping beside me, like with the paws in the air. It's very cute. Okay, so classics written by women. Let's start. I went in my shelves and looked at some that I do own and that I have read, and I'm just gonna talk about them and tell you if they are worth reading or not. At the end of the day, I do think you should read more classics, but I do get that they are hard, and yeah, but let's talk about them. I made a little list. It's in alphabetical order. I didn't go through all of the books I do own because that would be a very, very, very long video, but I have 6 that I wanted to talk about. Let's start with Little Woman by Lisa May Ascott. And this, you're following 4 sisters. There's Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy as they go through life, and I do think this book is worth reading, but I do not really remember what it was about, except there are 4 sisters and you're just following them. So the story written by a woman about women. So that's very great, and I do think it's worth it. Is it my favorite book? No. Also, I usually do not agree that much like with American classics. I feel like British classics are better in my opinion, but that's not the point. The point is, I do think Little Woman is worth reading. The writing is not too hard to read. You're gonna get attached to the sisters, not them all. They're all different, and you're gonna get attached to different sisters depending on who you are and what you like and all of that. But overall, I did enjoy that book. So that was for book 1. Then I want to talk about one of my favorite classics. It is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I've read that book many times. The writing is very hard, okay? Like, honestly, if you're not used to reading in English, I would not recommend reading that in English. I'm sure there's a translation in your language. For me, French, Orgueil et Préjugés, there's many translations. And this you're following is Elizabeth Bennet, Lizzie. All her family, her love life, the love life of her family and her friends and all of that. And honestly, it's my favorite Jane Austen. I'm not like, I know there's a lot of people that love Pride and Prejudice, but honestly, I absolutely loved it. There are many books that are worth the read in Jane Austen. Actually, I do think all of them. I did not enjoy that much Persuasion and Emma, but I did really enjoy Northanger Abbey, Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice. Am I forgetting one? Maybe, probably. I do believe, read every book she has finished writing. There are books that are not finished that you can read, but I don't want to do that to myself. Maybe one day I will do that, but for now, no. But Pride and Prejudice, worth the read. You can also listen to it as an audiobook, which I think will be easier to understand if you have trouble sometimes with English. Audiobook, good. My favorite adaptation is this movie, love it. I want to watch it all the time. There's also the adaptation of Persuasion. I'll put it here. Absolutely incredible. While I did not enjoy the book, I did enjoy the movie. So if you're interested, you could watch that. That's also very good. So Jane Austen, always worth reading in my opinion. Now, let's move to the Bronte sisters. Wuthering Heights. This story is very complicated, but it is not a romance. I did really like that book, but the thing is, people do think it's a romance. I do not agree. It's not a romance. Anyway, it's worth reading. Do not go into it thinking it was a romance, because it is not one, but the story is very dark, very intense. There's a lot of things happening. It's very strange, but honestly, I did enjoy that. I read it for the first time in French, so that also helped because the language used is not necessarily easy to understand, but again, worth the read. So anyways, in this you're following Heathcliff and Catherine. There's like very like this, a lot of things. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like a lot of people know about this book and I don't want to go into it today because you might get spoiled, but also it's a classic. Anyways, I don't want to go into the story, but I loved it. You should read it. It's worth the read. Now, from another Bronte sister, we have Jane Eyre. I did not enjoy the book. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so you're following this girl and Mr. Rochester. And like the thing is, I read it, I had trouble finishing it, I don't remember anything about it. So for me, it's not worth the read just because I did not enjoy it. You don't have to enjoy all of the classics, but it's still a classic written by a woman. So if you're interested, you could give it a shot. Maybe it's gonna work for you. But if you had to choose between Wuthering Heights and Jane Eyre, Wuthering Heights for sure, for me, way better. Let's move on to something very different. We have another American classics, but this time it's poetry by Emily Dickinson. And it's very different from what I usually talk in this channel because I don't really read poetry, but I did enjoy reading Emily Dickinson. It's dark. I feel like most American classics are very dark compared to others. Maybe it's the time because in 4 Ends of Tired Days, it half endears the abstinence and pain is missed in praise. He fumbles at your spirit as players at the keys. Before they drop full music on, he stuns you by degrees. Prepares your brittle substance for the ethereal blow. By fainter hammers further heard, then nearer, then so slow. Your breath has time to straighten, your brain to bubble cools. Deals one imperial thunderbolt that scalps your naked soul. It's very easy to read. I like poetry that is easy to read and that doesn't use very strong language and all of that. It was not death, for I stood up, and all the dead lie down. It was not night, for all the bells put out their tongues for noon. It was not frost, for on my flesh I felt siroco's crawl, nor fire, for just my marble feet could keep a chancel cool. And yet it tasted like them all, the figures I have seen, set orderly for burial, reminded me of mine, as if my life were shaven and fitted to a frame, and could not breathe without a key. And it was like midnight, some, when everything that ticked has stopped, and space stares all around, or grisly frost, first autumn morns, repealed the beating round, but most like chaos, stopless, cool, without a chance or spar, or even a report of land to justify despair. Honestly, very, very good. I do not have a favorite poems because I have not read enough by Emily Dickinson to justify having a preference, but it's very good, very dark, but at the same time very well written, and I did enjoy the time I spent reading Emily Dickinson. So if you're looking for something poetic, like some poetry that is a classic, Emily Dickinson, good way to go. There's a bunch of men that have written poetry, but this is a woman, so always good to be reading. Then a book I read not too long ago, but also very good. It's more considered as a kid's classic. It is Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. And the first book, you're following this young girl who gets adopted by accident from a brother and sister that were looking for some help on the farm. So they were looking for a boy. They got a girl. They decide to keep her, and you're following her as she's trying to settle in this new house, new city, new people, new school, all of that. So it is very good. The first book, she's young, she's like, I don't know, 12 maybe. And then as you progress into the series, it's a 10-book series. You're getting to know her as she gets older. So I just finished book 3, still enjoying it a lot. Book 1 definitely feels more kids, and then as Anne gets older, the book feels older. So now she just finished university at the end of book 3, she's engaged, so like it feels more adult. It's also a Canadian classic, which we love Canadian classics. There's not a lot that's talked about, but very good. So here are some classics written by women that sometimes I think are worth reading, most of the time are worth reading. Some that did not work for me, but still maybe you could give it a shot. But this was nice. I like talking about women writing books because we like that, okay? And yeah, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you very soon in another video. Bye!